Hey there everybody, this is Chris14 aka ClefferNotes bringing you a new video today, and this one is a mini review of the newly released Albion V from Spitfire Audio. So before I begin this review, I wrote a small track for Halloween, and this is going to be including all of the samples from Albion. I'm going to be removing everything else. This is a track you've heard before, it's called Whispers of the Wicked, and basically I'm going to be using all of the samples from Albion V so you can have a listen to the whole library in itself. So, enjoy! As you can hear, the library sounds wonderful. The whole point of this library is to have a very, very soft and different feel to it, which this library really captures very, very well. So I'm going to be running through some of the patches in this library. I'm not going to be going through all of them because it's going to be taken, it's going to take a long time. But I'm just going to run through the most, used articulations that I've probably used whilst having this library. So first of all, we have brush Pitts consort, which sounds like this. So you can hear it sounds really soft, and you can go into these different sections here. Here you can choose between the different mic positions. So if we load them all up, you have a very wide sound. Really gorgeous. And we have the close mics. And also you can turn the reverb off if you just want the natural release of the Air Lyndhurst Hall. So you can hear it sounds beautiful. And if we turn the reverb back on again, so we have some things, some articulations which are not normally heard, basically everyday sample libraries, and that's a really good thing if you want to create some really nice textures. For example, this one is called Col Legno Tratto, and this is basically the bow being played on the back side. So the wooden part of the bow is being played on the strings, and it gives this really soft sound which sounds like this. Just sounds absolutely spectacular, it really does. And you probably heard all the squeaks and all the imperfections. This is basically because the wood is scraping on the strings and it creates this distorted sound which just sounds beautiful in a textured situation. So next of all, we have some Harmonic Trims which sound very haunting, and they sound like this. So you can really create some wonderful sounding stuff. And we have the light loose Col Legnos, which is played on the back of the bow again, and it's similar to a pizzicato, but it's played on the bow. So you get a really beautiful sound there. And we have a no rosin. This is played on the practice bows. The players were instructed to bring a practice bow with them, as what was said on the Spitfire website. Basically, this is played with no rosin on the bow, so there's literally no friction on the bow, and it creates this really soft sound, which sounds like this. Just gorgeous. And we also have a patch called the Ricochet, and this is basically a chord patch which creates some very nice textures, which sounds like this. And we go into minors. So you probably recognise that from the track that I just showed you as well. And we also have Sol G, which is the G string on the violin that is played. Only the G string is played. So you get a really nice thready sound, which sounds like this. There we go. Sorry about the off notes there. And we also have a travelling Trims, which sounds like this. As you can hear, beautiful sound. So let's move on to the main patch, which is basically the main articulations that you'd normally expect to find. The less quirky ones, if you will. And this one is my favourite of all time patch. It's the Flautando patch. And it just speaks for itself. Have a listen. Just beautiful. Honestly, it is amazing. And we have the Flautando Consort shorts. And of course, if you want them to play slightly shorter, you can have the release articulations and the release triggers, sorry, to make it sound a lot shorter than it actually is. So you get a really nice shorter sound. And we have Frozen Longs. For those of you who know Spitfire, they released a labs library called Frozen Strings. And I think this is a main inspiration from this library because that small library is outstanding. And this is where, you know, this idea comes into play. We have Frozen Longs, which sounds like this. Just beautiful. And that sounds like a sulpont, which is the bow which is played right next to the bridge, and it gives a very thin, distorted sound. And we have Gypsy Longs, which sound like this. Again, very, very light and icy, which is the whole point of this library. And we have the double stopped fifth longs, which sound like this. Again, beautiful sound, very useful if you want to do some chords. And also we have the shorts. Beautiful sound, honestly. And we have the Super Saltasto, which is basically the Flautando, but more lighter. It sounds like this. Again, all the way down to the quietest dynamic. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. And we have Air and Ice, which is basically a thin sound again, which sounds like this. Gorgeous. And also we have Air, Ice and Trato, and it sounds like this. So you can create some really, really creepy sounding stuff. And we have Gypsy Harmonics. Beautiful sound. And we have Sulpont Consorts, which sound like this. Just honestly stunning, really, really stunning stuff. We have the Brush Sulpont Consort, which is the shorts. Again, wonderful sound. And Silken Consort shorts. Again, beautiful sound. And we're going to go on to the strings low main. Again, we have the same articulations here as well, but just on the low strings. And the flautando sounds like this. Fabulous sound, honestly, absolutely fabulous. And we have the flautando consort shorts. Just stunning, honestly. And we have the frozen longs. We have the shorts. And again, if we take the reverb off, again, sorry about the duff notes. And again, we have beautiful sound. And we have the double stop fifth longs, which sound like this. again the shorts. Again, sounds marvellous. And we have the Super Saltasto longs. Again, everything's instantly usable, and we have, let's go through here, the ones that we haven't done. The Silken Consort longs. Again, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And Super Saltasto short. Again, very, very soft in sound. And we'll go into the string soft and wild section. We have the brush pizzicato, which sounds like this. Again, beautiful in sound. And we have the Harmonic Trims. Just fabulous in sound. And again, we have the no rosins. Beautiful. And harmonics. Again, beautiful in sound. And we have Pitts Harmonic, which sound really cool. And they sound like this. And if you do it in octaves, again, marvellous. And we have the Pitts Harmonic tremolos, sorry, the cellos. Again, beautiful sound. And we have the pulsing consorts. Again, beautiful. And we have the pulsing consort sulpont. So you can create some really great sounding stuff. And we have the travelling trems. So there we go, that's the string section. Let's go on to the brass high, and we have just the air, which sounds like this. Amazing sound, honestly, so cool. And then we have the bursts, which sound like this. Fabulous sound. not going to go through every single patch because the video is getting quite long, and we'll go on to the hollow sound. Beautiful sound, and we have multiphonics. So you can create some really strange sounds. And we have the Cuivre Overblown FFF, which sounds like this. Gorgeous sound, and you can even hear the players breathing, which is amazing. And we have slight bends. So you get a really distorted sound, and we have the shorts. Again, beautiful sound. And we have the same again in the brass. We have the air and the bursts and doodle tonguing. Remarkable sound. And we have the overblowns. Again, gorgeous. And we have the slight bends. And the shorts. So as you can hear probably already, that this library is not the usual sounding library that you'd normally expect from an orchestral sample set. This is mainly to, you know, use different textures, and you know, it goes away from the normal big, broad and overly epic sound, and it just goes for a really intimate, beautiful sound. And that's what this library is all about, which is why I love it so much. And we have the woods high. Pretty much everything articulation wise is exactly the same as the brass. So we have the air, which sounds like this. So you can create some really nice atmospheric effects if you reverb it and, you know, put some delays and, you know, some stutter pads on there and, you know, that kind of stuff. And this one is one of my favorites as well. This is the Overblown, which sounds like this. Just a stunning sound, and you can make some really nice Zen-like, you know, tracks with this stuff. We have the bursts, which sound like this. Obviously the players won't be able to go on for that long because they're going to run out of breath, but for creating textures this is amazing. And we have the doodle tonguing. So you can hear the players kind of having a as they're playing the sound, and I'll do the close mic so you can hear it. And you get a really nice texture, and again, texture is key for making these, you know, amazing tracks. And we have the finger trills. Again, it creates a very nice texture, and it doesn't sound static, if you will. It sounds like the piece is moving, which is the whole point. And we have fluttered. Again, you get this kind of distorted sound because the players are doing this noise within the flutes, and you get this nice texture. It just sounds great. And we have the hollows. Again, if you put lots of reverb on it in this case. Again, lots of nice reverb. And we have the very shorts. You just have a gorgeous sound. And let's turn the reverb off. So yeah, so you can have a beautiful sound. And we have a longer short version. Again, if you want the more relaxed sound. And let's go into the woods low. And again, let's start with the shorts. Again, just sounds wonderful. And we have the air. Just gorgeous. And we have the aleatoire overblown. Really interesting texture. Again. And you can hear the breathing as well. And we have the finger trills. Again, you can hear the pads of the instruments, and it creates just sounds remarkable when you reverb it and stuff like that. And we have the flutter tongues. Again, the sound. And we have hollows. And we'll go for one more. We have the super air. Okay, so now the actual string section's out of the way, we have some legato patches, which sound like this. And again, if we do the low strings, and the air and ice legato, which sounds like this. Again, stunning sound. And we're going to go into the non-orchestral stuff, and we have the Bruno Loops. I'm only going to be showing a couple of these because, as you can see, there is absolutely tons. I love the names, by the way. Spitfire, if you're watching this. Fartiest Maximus, which sounds like this. Again, it creates a nice background for an action cue, which sounds like this. Again, that's the whole point of these Bruno loops, is to make a rhythmic section in a cue that makes it sound different and unique, and you know, and it does the job well. And here's what this sounds like. And also these are tempo synced to your DAW, which is super handy. So you get the idea. You have these loops and things which sounds fantastic. And we're going to go into the Steam Band. And honestly, the Steam Bands in the Albions are probably the hidden gems of the whole libraries, because they create some fantastic sounding synths and pads, and which you can use on practically anything. So let's run through the Bellow Pads, which sounds like this. Where else will you hear that, honestly? Fantastic. So here we go. Just remarkable. And we have the bitey bellow drone. And of course you've got a Gait Sequencer, which sounds like this. Again, you can create some really off-sounding stuff for any cue, for an action cue, or you know, just as an atmospheric piece. And these are just outstanding. Honestly, these are amazing. So we go into one of these again. What a sound. Whoever thought of bellows in this is a genius. To use bellows in this library is an absolute genius. Again, just sounds beautiful. And let's go into the Gypsy pads. Again, if you put the Gait Sequencer on, which sounds like this. that sounds too dry, but that just sounds awesome. Again, these just sound so inspiring to use. Just fantastic, honestly. Amazing stuff. And there we go, I've got a low disc warning. Fantastic. And let's go on to the SAML presets, which sound like this. Just stunning. Again, we have this one here as well. Honestly, just outstanding. I have no words. So there we go. That's all of the Stevenson Steam bands sorted out. So let's go into the Darwin Percussion. Again, this is very soft sounding, and you can create some otherworldly sounds with this stuff. Again, fabulous sound. Another amazing feature in this library is the Vral grid. Now this is something else. You can see here we have a grid of these pegs, and basically each one of these sets a different sound. For example, now you're going to hear this. So you can hear it sounds really, really strange, but the beauty of this is you can randomize any sample here and you create some different sounds. And I don't know how many different articulations and things that you can do, but it's over 1 million different separate things that you can create out of this. So no one Evo is exactly the same as any other's Evo, if that makes sense. That's how, you know, different this is. And here we go. Unfreaking believable. So if we go on to this one again, you can click randomize with only visible, and it creates a grid with the dots only visible in this section here. So anything that's not visible in this grid doesn't get changed. So for example, you can see here, and here's what this sounds like. Just outstanding. So if we control click, or yeah, if we control click onto this one, no, sorry, command click, you can do each section in a line here, so you can make them sound the same. Remarkable stuff. Fantastic, Spitfire. Great job. So that concludes this review. Sorry it's been so long. I'm truly blown away by this library. It is absolutely outstanding in sound. And honestly, it's one of my favourite libraries. And that's not just saying that for the sake of this review. But honestly, I think Spitfire are onto a huge winner here. Especially for people who love sound design. And I say this because of the incredible Steam synths and everything that's also included in the synth sections. They honestly sound out of this world good and otherworldly, which is, you know, the whole point of this library. It just sounds incredible. Ever since this product was announced, there was so much character in the marketing department, and it just resonated within me. Just the whole ethos of the whole product itself is just magical. The library just has so much character. It has so much rawness and depth to it. It's intended to be raw and beautiful it is. It's just remarkable. The huge list of articulations, you have so many options here to create some amazing sounding music that's different from everybody else. Now the negatives of this library, yes there are some, but honestly it is so minor that it's, you know, this could be classed as being greedy, but I really do wish there's more legato patches. The legatos that we have at the moment are just wonderful to use, and they're so responsive and agile, which is fantastic. But I would love more like woodwinds and brass legatos, and even some consort string legatos would be, you know, really nice to use in this library, and it would suit it so well. If you're looking for a different sounding library, this is definitely the one. And it's not for everybody, but you can write some beautiful music, but you may want to look elsewhere for traditional orchestral sounds like you know, that you'd normally hear. This is very different, and that's the whole point of this library, to be different. So if you're looking for more traditional orchestral palettes, I'd suggest looking into the other Albions or the BML range, which Spitfire also have. And also, to end this video, I just want to say a huge congratulations to Spitfire for everything they've done this year, and just this whole library itself. They've done a phenomenal job, and for a developer that releases these libraries for us to all enjoy and use every single day, so thanks so much, Spitfire. I really do appreciate it. So that wraps up this review video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and sorry it's been so long. I really wanted to do this library justice, to give you a big insight as to how it sounds and how amazing it is. Honestly, I do recommend that you pick it up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.